Hi, I'm Vareen, a curious explorer of the intricate landscape of the human mind and behaviors, and you're now listening to the Ink Thoughts podcast, where I unravel the mysteries behind the incongruous thoughts that pepper our everyday existence. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ink Thoughts podcast. Hope everyone has been doing well. So today, when I was at work, I had this conversation with my colleague about learning. What we were basically talking about was oftentimes the education system is feeding us with a lot of information, which we agreed that it is important to a certain extent. However, the more important thing that we ought to be looking at is probably to teach the younger generation on how to learn the how. He shared that he ended up at where he is now isn't because he's so knowledgeable within this area of work, but because he knows how to learn to be good or better at doing something and believes that he would be able to learn to do something well or better, which I definitely agree that it is an important skill to have. It then led me to reflect a little further, like what might be the potential reason that we doubt ourselves, our abilities to do or learn something, which when you give it some thought and reflect on it, you might probably realize that you doubt yourself a lot too. And so I come to this realization of the self-efficacy theory. So, what is self-efficacy and why does it matter? Self-efficacy is a term coined by the psychologist Albert Bandura. In simpler terms, it means your confidence in your ability to take actions that lead to a desired result. It's different from self-esteem, which is about how much you value yourself. Self-efficacy is about believing you can succeed at specific tasks or goals. Let's think of it this way. Was there a time in the past when you believed that you can achieve something? You noticed that you're more likely to take actions, persist through challenges, and bounce back from failures. Without it, even the most straightforward goals can feel out of reach. Let's do a quick thought experiment here. Think of the time when you feel unstoppable. You feel like you could tackle everything and anything. That feeling is likely to come from a strong sense of self-efficacy. Now, contrast that with a time when you doubted yourself so much that you didn't even try. The difference in your actions and outcomes was rooted in your belief. So why is self-efficacy such a game changer for self-growth? Because growth requires action. It's about stepping out of your comfort zone, trying new things and learning from failures. And none of that is possible if you don't believe you can make a difference. Research shows that people with high self-efficacy set more ambitious goals, are more resilient in the face of setbacks, and recover more quickly from failures. On the flip side, low self-efficacy can lead to procrastination, avoidance, and giving up too soon. I have to admit that I definitely have seen myself in both sides, and I believe you do too. Let's take the version of me in high school as an example. I remember I was juggling between multiple responsibilities apart from being a full-time student who was stressing out for a major exam that time. I was holding multiple leadership positions in different clubs and societies, and I knew that I want to do them all well. But realistically, I know that I'm nothing too special from anyone else, and I have the same 24 hours as you do. But I was probably a bit greedy that I want them all. Of course, there were times that means that I had to sacrifice my sleep in order to ensure that I could do everything that I needed to. But guess what? Yes, I was stressed, but I did manage to do whatever that I needed to in a satisfactory way. And ended up I did manage to achieve a satisfactory result that's good enough for me for my exams too. Well, it would come to using all the other important skills and techniques like time management, energy management, etc. But the important idea that I want to point out here is that the beliefs that I had for myself and believing that I could do it powers the motivation and lead me to a desired outcome. However, self-efficacy is not something that you're born with and so you're fixed. It's a skill that you could build with intentional effort. When it comes to building self-efficacy, here's a few strategies that you could try with. First thing first, if you've been here for a while, you probably have heard me say this multiple times before. Start from small wins and appreciating those little steps that you've managed to take. Success builds confidence. Break your goals into smaller, manageable tasks and focus on achieving those. Each win reinforces the belief that you're capable. Sooner or later, you might realize that how far you've come to after focusing on the process of doing and enjoying the process itself. And these positive experiences and feelings would just reinforce the idea of you being capable and becomes an intrinsic motivation to you in pushing yourself harder and doing more of what you want to do. Then, reframe failures as feedback. Instead of seeing setbacks as a proof of inadequacy, view them as a learning opportunity. Instead of beating yourself up, ask yourself, what can I take from this experience to do better next time? Similarly, the next point would be to use positive self-talk. Your inner dialogue shapes your beliefs a lot. Be self-aware that when you start having self-defeating thoughts such as, I can't do this, replace them with more empowering thoughts such as, I've got this, I'm capable of learning and improving. Combining the above-mentioned strategies with self-reflection. Put aside some time to reflect on your past achievements. Write down those moments when you've accomplished something you once thought was very difficult or even impossible. And at the same time, note down small little things that you think are making you one step nearer to your big goals. Use this as reminders of your capabilities. So now, let's turn today's discussion into action. Here's one challenge. So now, let's turn today's discussion into action. Here's your challenge for the week. Identify one area of your life where you've been holding back due to self-doubt. Then choose a small specific action you can take to build the momentum. Maybe it's signing up for a class, writing down a plan, whatever it is, take that first step and we'll celebrate it together and move on to the next afterwards. As always, I'd love to hear about your experiences. Comment down below to share with me, and let's keep this conversation going and support each other on this journey to becoming a better version of ourselves. Thank you for joining me on this episode today. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you found value in this episode, please share it with someone who might need a boost of confidence. And remember, self-efficacy is a skill you can build. And take one small step at a time. Focus on that one small step in front of you. Keep believing, keep growing, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you enjoyed it, do like and share it with your friends and family and drop me a comment on YouTube. If you're on Apple Podcasts, please leave me a review. If you're on Spotify, please rate my show. Alternatively, any questions or feedback, feel free to email me at hello@incthoughts.com or send me a private message on Instagram, Facebook or Twitter with the username of IncThoughtspod. Thanks again and catch you all next week.